I now want to bring in Jonathan Wachtel. He's a global affairs analyst and the co-founder and COO of the social platform OurCo. Jonathan, you and I were sitting watching this press conference. We were ahead of it, talking about what body language, what unscripted moments may be quite revealing. And one thing President Trump admitted that may make news is that he said he's trying to get Bagram Air Base back from the Taliban, despite the U.S. leaving Afghanistan back in 2021. Why is that so notable to you?
The enormity of the United States going back into Bagram can't be understressed here. That is access to so much of the world in terms of containing terrorism, in terms of showing might in Russia's Near East, near abroad, as they say, in terms of telling the Chinese, look, man, you're not allowed to have freedom of movement within Afghanistan and take all the mineral resources and not have anything standing in your way. It is enormous, and we'll see over time if that indeed is happening. It will have reverberations, and it puts pressure on Vladimir Putin, who, of course, the Soviets have this legacy of having been economically brought to their knees because of the war in Afghanistan. And to see the United States once again taking up shop in Afghanistan would be a remarkable thing. And the combination of something like that and tightening up the valves of Russian oil being sold overseas, primarily to European nations and the Indians, would really put economic pressure on Putin as well, in which the war machine that Putin enjoys, which he can pay for, it gets more difficult moving forward if those things are happening.
So that, combined with President Trump admitting that Putin has let him down and that he, in President Trump's word, Putin is losing more of his own soldiers than Ukrainian soldiers, may signal a new approach that the U.S. is taking. We want to play another clip of some of the remarks we've just heard.
This trip has galvanized $350 billion in deals across many sectors, and we're committed to ensuring that the UK has a secure and reliable supply of the best AI hardware and software on Earth. And we supply that, and we'll make sure we supply it in quantity to the UK. And we also are joining forces on quantum computing and nuclear power, a natural partnership for close allies. The United States, as you probably have heard, is doing better than it has ever done in terms of business and investment.
So the president spoke one-on-one with Keir Starmer for an hour. They have a memorandum of understanding as far as these business deals. Should the UK feel pretty good at this stage with how this trip went?
Absolutely. To have that type of influx of money, investment, focus on the United Kingdom, ensuring that it's got a good pathway. It's a strong nation on its own, obviously, Errol. You come from there. But to have the backing of the United States and big tech involved there in a very complicated technological world that is so competitive, and have the Chinese sort of knocking at your door and concerned about the future, it is massively important. And it will, of course, yield a lot for years to come, generations to come. I mean, that is the cutting edge of where industry is going, or at least the economies. AI is everything, and technology and the chips and everything. The United Kingdom is going to be having a front row seat in that very competitive place.
So on business and on trade, it looked as if there was a lot of overlap. And something I found notable was that even in the areas where there isn't overlap, a question about the UK recognizing Palestinian statehood, President Trump, that being a line he doesn't want to cross. As soon as the UK Prime Minister asserted that October 7th was horrific, the worst experience Jewish people have had since the Holocaust, and that Hamas will not be part of any Palestinian future, he got a literal pat on the back from President Trump, a real show of support. Did that jump out at you, that the fact that even on issues where they don't agree, they still showed respect for the other's position?
There's respect for the other position, but, as time goes on, it's going to be very difficult for Starmer not to make some sort of announcement, given the population, the pressures he's facing. President Trump is in a stronger position in terms of having some sort of time and the ability to play. But Starmer, is dealing with a more intricate world right on his doorstep, and internally much more difficult than Donald Trump, certainly.
And just in our last few seconds, the topic of free speech now appears to be an emerging issue here in the US and in the UK, with the cancelling ABC indefinitely suspending the Jimmy Kimmel late night program because of remarks he made about Charlie Kirk. The UK Prime Minister was steadfast in saying when it comes to pedophilia and suicide, there needs to be a limit on free speech. Is this a new topic area both nations will have to battle with?
Absolutely. We're both liberal democracies. Liberal democracies are based on that freedom of speech. And if that comes under assault, and if things begin to get curbed, then you begin to end up in an autocratic place, something like what happened to Russia. After Yeltsin was, he wasn't removed from power, he actually put Vladimir Putin in power in that country back in 2000. The year 2000, actually, precisely. And it was very rapidly after that that all sorts of liberalness that had happened within the news media got crushed. And ultimately, you ended up with every news outlet having to kowtow to what the Kremlin said. So, we enjoy freedom of press and the United Kingdom, and that obviously is a battleground that needs to be won by both nations.
Yeah. We are seeing the exterior footage from the location where the UK Prime Minister and Donald Trump held their press conference as Mr. Trump wraps up his second state visit to the UK. I want to thank Jonathan Wachtel, Remy Inocencio, and our Wei Zhang for helping us understand everything we all just witnessed live.